Hey everybody, it's tea time with the diva. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, because we're going to get into it. This tea time is dedicated to Diddy. They're saying that they're projecting that his release date, if he does not get a pardon from President Trump, will be May 8th, 2028. So that is because it's 2025, 26, 27, so that's about 3 years. I thought they said he might get out in 27, but guess not. They're saying May 8th, 2028, if he doesn't get any other things that will cut off some more time from his sentence. So, feds. So Diddy, the feds predict prison release date. So mark your calendars. The feds are projecting Diddy's prison release date, and it may be sooner than you might expect. Diddy's going to be a free man on May 8th, 2028, at least based on his release date provided by the Bureau of Prisons website. Oh, so you know what? I didn't realize. Well, I guess they do, right? They have a website that gives all your good business when you when you locked up. So let's take a listen.
Future. Obviously, in the immediate future, I'm sure he's thinking, I hope I get this commutation from the president, which we told you the president is considering. There's ongoing debate about that within the White House. But at some point, whether it is next week, next month, or 2 years from now, Diddy is going to have an opportunity to continue
his life.
His life. And can he actually be successful? Will the public and other people in his industry forgive his transgressions and give him a second or maybe even third chance at this point? Well, we spoke to someone.
We spoke with Mark Garagos, who is my
he the co-host of a podcast?
of the Two Angry Men podcast.
Oh, that's where I know
But
him
also
from.
Diddy's longtime lawyer.
Oh,
and we wanted to talk to him about that, and also, the White House came out and said fake news to our story that Trump is vacillating, but could decide on commuting his sentence as early as this week, that Diddy could be a free man by then. Here's what he said at the airport.
There's a lot of news coming out. We reported a story about a pardon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I'll tell you is I think your story was accurate. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean,
So-
this week some decision will be made. What's the feeling?
I have no idea about timing. All I know is everything that I read in that article looked accurate. I have the utmost confidence in Sean. I think Sean will make a comeback, the likes of which people are not expecting. So I've watched him over. I've known him for a long time. I have the utmost confidence in him.
in whatever sphere. I mean, he's done
He's
the
done.
business, the
He's
music,
iconic
the fashion.
in a lot of ways, and I think he'll make a comeback. I'll leave it at that.
You don't think that he'll lose some fans, or do you think?
And part of character is when you fall down, you get back up.
Can I tell you what was really revealing about that?
And he calls him Sean, that you can tell he's known him for a very long time.
As I'm playing this though, do y'all think he's going to be able to make a comeback? And when I say a comeback, I don't necessarily mean in music, but just in general. Do you think in general, eventually the people will forget and forgive? So as you chat with me about this video and the release date, let me know how you feel about this comeback situation. Let's continue to listen.
I know that.
Right.
But when he said, the likes of which you will never see, those are Trump's words. The likes of which you've never seen. He says it all the time. And Garagos used those. Very Trumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Very Trumpy.
Yeah, very. I mean, I think it's not entirely unsurprising what he's saying about Diddy making a comeback, though. That is what you expect his lawyer to say, but he's sort of manifesting it, putting it out in the universe. I think he's kind of right. Memories are short. We talked about this in the morning meeting about Michael Milken, who now has one of the most sterling reputations you can have. His name is on, schools and so forth.
By the way, he's a guy that went to prison in the whole jump bond scandal in the 80s. Everybody wrote him off for, he's going to be hiding for the rest of his life.
That's right.
I agree.
He served time, and it doesn't always happen, but it can happen.
Memories are short, but video is forever.
That's right.
And that's going to be his challenge. I just...
The Cassie video you can never unsee, but he will serve some time, notwithstanding if there's a pardon or whatever. But, he's gone through a lot, and he was mostly found not guilty on the most serious charges. So there's a chance he emerges from this like a phoenix. He's iconic in many ways, as Garagos said.
But I think during the trial, part of the reason there were so many people who felt he should have been found guilty, regardless of what happened in the trial, is because they were thinking about that video.
But the rage,
he's also in the latter
the rage people feel today. It's just so interesting. the way it subsides. I mean, I remember during Johnny and Amber how there were so many people who were outraged at Amber Heard. I don't think that exists anymore. I think if Amber Heard came back to the United States, she'd get jobs.
Although Johnny Depp hasn't really rebounded completely because
Right,
he was
Johnny
at the
Depp hasn't
end of his career
fully
like
rebounded
Diddy. So
either.
that
That
analogy
may
doesn't
be
really
more
help.
him than the whole trial and everything else, because he won that trial. But I'm saying if Amber came back today, everybody wrote her off. She went to Spain because she thought, I'm just done in the U.S. If Amber Heard came to the United States today,
She'd have roles.
she would get roles, and I think people would embrace her.
But Amber Heard hasn't come back.
But I think
And
if-
that should be.
But
that
he's
should
saying
tell you
counterfactually,
something.
if she did, he
I'm
thinks she'd
saying
have a role.
she hasn't because it's her choice. But if she did, I really believe she could get roles.
And I think she doesn't believe that, because if she did, she would come back.
then she should listen to me.
She'd hire her as an agent.
I think that Diddy's fear of what happened to him is just proof that he knows what he did to Cassie. He knows it was abusive. And his biggest fear is being on the receiving end of that same treatment that he gave to her, like all abusers.
Yeah, I mean, look, he did what he did. You can never undo that. But you know,
And
look at Michael. Look at Michael Vick. Wait, I can give you a look at Chris Brown. Look at Chris Brown. We have an image of Rihanna after that beating.
Right.
He's filling venues again, and everybody wrote him off back then. Do you know what I mean? There was an image there too, and yet
This is true.
look at Chris Brown.
This is true. I guess the difference is, one, I mean, it's been a long time
Yeah.
for Chris Brown, right? It's been a long time since that happened. And Chris Brown is an artist who's out there making music. That's not Diddy, that part of Diddy's career long behind him.
that's
And
true.
maybe that's going to make it easier for him.
Right.
I forgot there were images of what happened to Rihanna. So, I mean, time is only going to tell in terms of a comeback. There's a lot of factors that will go into Diddy's prison release, and it's not set in stone that he's released on May 8, 2028. He could walk free earlier or later. Plus, that's not even factoring in what we first reported, that President Trump is considering pardoning Diddy. So we'll take a listen here too.
Be a free man by the end of this week. We broke a story last night that Donald Trump is seriously considering commuting his sentence. And there has been a lot of fallout with our story.
By the way, commuting his sentence before he's even in a prison.
Right.
He's still at Brooklyn MDC waiting to find out which prison he's going to. But this is something that President Trump is considering. And the fact that he's considering it is causing a bit of an internal war at the White House, because not everybody in the administration thinks this is a good idea.
So we are told this, and this is coming from somebody high up in the White House. We broke that story, incidentally, that right after the sentencing, his legal team, Diddy's legal team, got in touch with somebody who had the president's ear, and that the president was looking at the paperwork.
And the president acknowledged that
Like 2 days later.
Yeah, in the Oval Office.
2 days later.
Yeah.
So we now know that Trump is considering, we're told that he's kind of waffling, he's going back and forth on this, but there are staffers in the White House telling him, don't do it. So we put this story up last night, and the White House immediately came out and said, fake news. The story is fake news, and then they ended up saying the president makes that decision. Well, we also said that our source, the key source, said the exact same thing, that even though some staffers are telling him not to, that decision,
Ultimately,
he will do what he wants to do.
That's what he does.
I'm confused about what the president's denial
By the way,
was.
just so you know, we absolutely stand by the story.
It's
Right.
100%,
accurate.
it's 100%
It's hard
true.
to find.
I'm confused
Where's
with
the fake news?
what the denial is. What was the claim of fake news? We know that he was considering it. He said in the Oval Office that he was considering it.
That he was aware of.
And
No,
then
we said as early as this week. There is new development.
And
there are new developments that some of the staff is telling him don't do it. That he has gone back and forth on it, but that it could happen as early as the end of this week.
But he doesn't say.
And very clear, not a pardon, a commutation. That was made clear.
The difference being a pardon, he's still guilty of the crimes. The commutation just doesn't have to serve the sentence.
But we were specifically told commutation, not pardon.
But what is he denying? Is he denying that he is considering it? Is he denying that he's vacillating on it? Or is he saying, I'm never going to give this guy a pardon?
Well, he's not saying.
He's not saying anything.
The communication.
Somebody in the
person
White
was
House, but
not
they're
clear.
speaking on his behalf. They're not speaking without his
They're just saying
consent.
fake news. He's considered. Look, this is happening.
Right.
And I wish
It's happening that he's considering it.
It's happening. He's considering
Right.
it. Now, what's really interesting about this, when you think about it, I think Diddy's team royally screwed up, because if he would have bent the knee during sentencing
And just said something about being prosecuted here when there's
As
very
opposed to
little
back
evidence.
channeling it.
Right.
They wanted to.
If he
You
had done
wanted
the
to bend the
public-
knee in the middle of court, open.
But
you know,
here's
with
the
reporters.
reality, that Diddy's team, what they're telegraphing to the White House is, look at the similarities Donald Trump has with Diddy. They're saying that the Justice Department was weaponized against both of them. That's their argument. That Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, prosecuted him. That he was prosecuted for racketeering, which they're saying was never a thing, and the jury agreed. He was prosecuted for sex trafficking. The jury said no.
Right.
And the only thing that he got convicted of was the Mann Act, which he never would have been prosecuted if that was the only thing alone that they had prosecuted. So they're saying, look, we're simpatico. We're like you.
Overreaching prosecutors.
And
right.
that's how they're trying to reach Trump.
What I don't see is what's really in this for Trump to do it, right? And because normally when the president makes these decisions, it's transactional. There's something he feels he's going to get from it.
What do you get from George Santos?
Well, I was about to say, that's what gives me pause. Because when I think about Diddy at this point, because he didn't publicly bow, then it feels like, well, what's in it for Trump?
Yeah.
But I would say the same thing about George Santos. What's in it?
There's nothing
what was
in it for Trump.
There's
I
nothing
see
in it.
more
yes,
in
there
it.
is.
I see more in it for Diddy than there is for
something in it.
Santos.
Well, there's a lot in it for Diddy.
Right.
But there's
What's in it for Santos?
There's something in it for Trump. Epstein. That right now there is a woman who is not being sworn in by Mike
Into
Johnson,
Congress.
who will be the 218th vote to release the Epstein files. That would be a majority. And they are doing everything they can not to swear her in. But it's looming. And if Diddy gets commuted, the sentence gets commuted, that's going to grab headlines.
But
So do you think
that's
that's
a
what
3 or
happened
4
with
day
some-
news cycle. though.
Well,
I mean,
he commuted Santos last Friday.
yeah.
Let me say this. When the Epstein files do come out, if they ever come out, you better believe they're not going to be the true real list. We're never going to get the true real list, or we will get the true real list when certain people have gone on to glory. Okay. But I don't think that's why I don't even really feed into this. Can we see the list? Will we get the list? Not get the list? I think we're never going to get the true list. And the true list will maybe come out not in my lifetime, but once I'm all gone and the people who are all involved are way gone too. And in terms of what else was I going to say to you? In terms of like, us getting true stories on certain things, just like with this whole NBA scandal and the gambling, I think we're getting some fall guys are going down, but I think that is way bigger than we will ever know, and certain people will just never get touched. But those are diva thoughts. Let's continue to listen.
And that was a distraction through the weekend.
Yeah. And so he commutes Diddy,
You commute
gets
Diddy
a
and
distraction,
get more
maybe
of a
for a little,
distraction.
for a week and a half.
But it's
at
been a
the
series
same-
of distractions for 10 months.
Yeah, no, I got you. I just don't know. I just don't know how much play you get out of that, because
You get good play.
You get good
You
play.
get good play.
And by the way, I think you'd get longer play in commuting Diddy than you did George Santos.
Without question, but
Absolutely.
but the Epstein files aren't going to come out tomorrow. Even if they swear in the 218th Congresswoman, they're not going to all of a sudden release them en masse the next day. It's going to take some time. And I hear what you're saying, and he definitely wants a distraction from Epstein. I got that.
They don't have to know what the end game is.
Right,
They're just
right,
delaying.
right.
They just keep delaying.
I'm going to say something that I've gone back and forth to whether I should even say it or not.
Ooh.
I don't know why we got this story, because what occurred to me was that if it becomes public, maybe he's less likely to do it. So there's something I'm missing.
I think that's right.
And I don't know what I'm missing here. There's something I'm missing.
Yeah, I think I don't think you're missing anything. I think that Donald Trump reacts negatively when a story comes out that he has not personally authorized.
But his point is, why wouldn't these sources have thought that through?
Well, sources are sources. People talk for different reasons.
Hey, enough said.
Yeah, but the sources that are in the White House that is telling the business, they know how their boss, so to speak, is, and they should have kept their mouths shut. The music mogul was sentenced to 50 months behind bars for a couple of convictions on the Mann Act. In his federal criminal case, he skated on more serious charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, and he's still locked up at the MDC in Brooklyn. I'm under the impression, now I don't know how long it normally takes them to move people once they have been sentenced, but I used to think they did it fairly quickly. But I was under the impression, because they didn't move him yet, that they are Trump is considering commuting his sentence. And now I know the clear difference between when you're commuted versus you are given a pardon. Pardon is like your wife should say clean, like you didn't even do the crime. Commuting is they just shortening your sentence. So I'm glad they gave us that detailed information on that. Diddy wants to serve his sentence in FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey, and the judge has said he's cool with Diddy going to prison near close to New York City. It's going to be up to the Department of Prisons, the Bureau of Prisons, to decide on where Diddy serves his time. But now we have a ballpark for when Diddy will finally walk free. So May 8, 2028, usually people like smooth numbers for weddings. That's just an off little comment. Like people like 5/25, 2025. But May 8th, May is the 5th month. So yeah, that's not really a good number for a wedding. But anyway, guys, listen, chat with me in the comments. And when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Diddy's potential release date. And do you think that maybe Trump will commute his sentence? Or do you think he's going to just let him go ahead out and finish out his time? Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next video. Hit the like button.